The days on market to get a successful home sale in the Real Estate Board of Greater Vancouver has dropped week over week for the last 3 weeks. Find out how that affects both buyers and sellers in today's Monday Market Monitor. Welcome back, my friends, to your Monday Market Monitor for November 17th to the 23rd, where I unpack the weekly stats for the Real Estate Board of Greater Vancouver. For those of you tuning in for the first time, welcome. You're in for a treat. And for you returning folks, thank you again so much for all of your support. So without delay, let's get into the numbers because there are some interesting things happening that I wanted to have a chat about. First, our new listings. So last week we had 986 new listings come to the market. Now that number is just a tad bit higher than our 16-week average of 917. So nothing crazy about that number or the number of listings that expired or came to the end of their term last week, which was 92. And that number is exactly the same as the week prior. So nothing to write home about here. When it comes to price changes, 343 properties had price improvements last week. So there are a number of sellers out there that are getting really serious about selling. In fact, the average days on market before a price improvement is 35. So sellers are waiting right around a month and then looking to improve their prices. So what that tells me is that either the agents advising clients or the sellers themselves are not necessarily in tune with the market value and the competition that is out in the marketplace right now. Or of course, they lack the understanding of the buyer pool, what those buyers can afford, and how to properly market to them. Because a successful home sale in this market is based on 4 things: pricing it right, an in-depth knowledge of the current market conditions, a complete understanding of buyer avatars, and the right exposure or marketing for the property. So if your agent is missing any of those, you may very well miss out on a successful home sale. But moving on to the home sales themselves. Last week, we saw 438 successful home sales, which is a bounce back from the previous week's 414. What is actually very interesting about this number is the days on market for those successful sales. It turns out that the DOM number has dropped down to 14. So over the last 3 weeks, we've seen the median DOM drop from 30 to 26 and now to 14. So what does that tell us? It says that the new listings coming to the market are priced far more appropriately for a quicker sale, and that there are a couple of great reasons right now to look for a faster sale. First, of course, we're almost at the end of October, and no one wants to get caught having to sell their property over the holidays because whether we like it or not, the holidays are creeping up very quickly. And secondly, if your property relies on a foreign buyer to purchase it, it is kind of like now or never for you. Well, now or you have to wait 2 years. You see, come January 1st, 2023, the federal ban on foreign purchases will take effect and last for 2 years. So this is mainly going to affect luxury properties since there are only about 0.074% of Canadians that can afford a $10 million plus property. So if you have plans to sell your luxury home over the next 2 years, you may want to talk to an expert to see what your options are right now to get a successful home sale before that ban comes into effect. But back to the numbers. We are holding steady at 22.37% of the listings sold last week, selling at or above the list price. This is right in line with the numbers for the last 16 weeks, but interesting to note that even with the higher interest rates, there's still a fair amount of competition in the market. And it won't surprise you when I say that 56% of the sales last week were under the $1 million mark. That is a solid amount of activity that is in that entry-level price point. Again, if you have a property to sell and it fits that criteria, you have a really great chance, if you price it right, of having a very successful home sale. Final stat for all of you, of the 438 successful home sales last week, 305 of them, or 68%, were condos or townhomes. So there are still a lot of people taking advantage of the opportunity to sell in a very strong market and purchase a detached home, taking advantage of that move up and that depression in the detached pricing right now. But enough of me talking. I'm not sure if it's for you, but if you want to have a more in-depth conversation about the Vancouver real estate market and how these stats will affect your fall home sale, then reach out for some expert advice. Thank you so much for tuning into your Monday Market Monitor, and we will see you in the next video.